Today we have a 5.9 Cummins, and the customer brought us a box of wires. Now, why, you may ask? Well, if we take a look at this is no good. These wires are just old and heavily corroded. So today's task is to change all of the wires out. Perfect. And the first step is to change this ground. So if we come down here, we see where the ground wire meets the block right here. So we're gonna have to remove that. Just like so. Now if we come down here a little bit further, we can see the one on the frame. We're gonna get that off. All right, so I got the two wires just pulled up. Now we could go ahead and remove this one, just like so. Now the last one, this one goes directly into the harness down there. So I'm just gonna pull this off and see what it looks like, and we're gonna see if we have to replace it. As you can see, it just gets welded on there by the corrosion. All right, now we can take this off. What we're gonna do is just match it up to our new harness. Let's get this on there, make it look nice. Followed by our terminal. Today's sponsor is Freeze Off. Just kidding, it's not sponsored. We're gonna see if this crap works. I'm not sure if this works. I've never used it, so we're gonna go ahead and give it a try. We had to bring out the game changer. See? Wow. Freeze Off. Not sponsored. All right, so I did get the first main ground going from our battery to the block, and I got that one started on the block. So now we can go ahead and do the other two wires. Up here we got everything routed nice and clean looking. Now we do got our negative all nice and done. So we're going to move on to the positive. And this positive does look a little bit tricky because I was looking at it earlier. So this wire goes to our starter, which does not look easy to get to. If we come down here, we can see the starter, and the wire is actually directly on top of the starter. So it's definitely not the easiest thing to get to. All right, so upon further inspection, I think it's just going to be the easiest just to drop the starter, just so we have full access to everything. So that's what we're going to be tackling next. So I'm under the truck, and we do have 3 bolts holding it on. They are going to be 12.10 millimeters. We have 2 right there, and then there's going to be 1 up top. I'll show you how to get it in a second. This one was pretty simple. I just got it with 12.10 and a swivel. Now for this one, you're just going to want to get with a 12-point wrench. Pretty easy to get. And for this last 10 millimeter up here, you just put your wrench up there and you can get it. It's pretty hard, but you can get it. Now once you have this bolt out, we can take the other 2 out all the way. Now what we're going to do is pull the starter back and twist it a little, and that gives us access to this power wire right here. We're going to go ahead and remove that. After you get that wire off, you can kind of spin it back a little, and now we have better access to this wire right here. We're just going to push in that tab and get that connector out, and after that our starter is going to come right out. All right, I got mine out. All you're going to do is push it toward the front of the truck, and then you're just kind of to nose dive it down, and it comes out. All right, we got this monster of a starter out finally. That was a battle, but now we can continue on. Basically, the hardest part of the job is halfway over. Now we can continue with these cables. We're gonna go ahead and remove this one right here. This goes from positive to positive, I believe. We got it off the cable, or we got it off the battery cable. Pop that out. Goes to the solenoid right here, and another one going directly to the alternator. So this is going to be a lot easier than the starter. We're just going to pop that cover off, and we just take our alternator wire off. All right, so our alternator wire is off. Now we move to the 10 right there, I believe. That was actually a 13. My size guessing today is off. Now this entire cable comes off. We can start getting this laid out. These positive cables are actually labeled, so this one's battery positive, battery positive. All right, so we're just gonna grab this end and kind of stretch it over there. We don't got that side removed yet, so we're just gonna kind of mock it up. This clips in this and have it lay down right here, just so we got it there. Now the last cable in the box is actually just battery positive to starter. That means it's going to make us reuse these two wires, which this just went to the solenoid and then this one went to the alternator, so it's not a huge deal. All right, so we will be reusing these two. I'm just gonna get these back where they were. So this one was on the alternator like this, and then this other one was just on the solenoid. And then we're gonna lay them down close to the terminal. We're not gonna hook up that terminal just yet. We're gonna switch back to the other side, but just so this side's all nice and tidied up over here. All right, so looking at our new wires, this one here is going to be positive directly to the starter. So this is our main power wire. So that means this one is going to have to be our fuse box to the battery. So I don't exactly know what this is for. I originally thought that went to the starter for whatever reason, but this is not ignition because this is just positive. So we are going to need to rob our old ignition harness. So this is going to be the plug up top that we removed, and then this goes all the way down to the starter. So we're gonna have to cut that out and then put that in our new harness. And that still leaves the question what this is for. I'm not sure if I just don't need this. Maybe there's some models where this goes to something else. I'm not totally 100% sure, because this was our main wire that went to the starter. So that's what that was. This is our ignition wire, which means that this one here was the one that went to the fuse box, and that's all we had hooked up. So I never had a little positive pigtail like this. So maybe if you guys do need this, just make sure you hook that up. I'm not sure exactly what that's for, but I will not be hooking that up. Maybe it's just a extra accessory thing to where you can tap into power right there nice and easy, which would make sense, I guess. So for now, what we're gonna do is actually cut this ignition wire out very carefully. Okay, so I have this one out, and I really thought it did come with a new ignition wire, because that's why I cut our old harness off. So I'm gonna have to splice this back together. So what I did was, down here not exactly sure if you guys can see that, but there is a bracket which that wire does go through. You can still see the loom just sitting there. I'll be able to pull this loom out now. Okay, here's where we're at right now. I did get the bottom of this positive disconnected down there. So now the big wire is just hanging, and now we just have one positive, a small one that goes right here to the fuse box, and another small one that just goes to this connector. So now the next step is going to be getting those two undone, and then this whole positive wire will come out next. This one was just a 13, comes out really easy, and pull it off. And now this part of the wire is free, and this one was just a clip. You're just gonna push in the tab, pull it out, and then it comes right out. And now this entire wire is freed up. All right, I got mine out. We're about to go back in right to the starter. I have the starter just sitting down there. But you want to make sure that you have your terminal cover on your cable, and we're going to be good to stick it back down in there, plug it on the starter, then we can hook the starter back up. Alright, so I have my starter sitting in there. Man, this thing is a mammoth of a starter here to be moving around, but I got my bolt tight up there, your power wire. Now you can go ahead and slip your cover back on, and then we can turn it the other way and hook up our plug, and then we're good to put the starter back in and tighten it back up. We got our ignition wire back in, we got the power wire on, so now we're just going to put the starter back in and tighten that up. We now have the starter back in there, and everything is hooked up on the bottom. This is definitely the hardest part of the entire job, so I'm glad that's over. Now from up top, we have everything plugged in. We have our ignition wire, and then we have the power to the starter right there. And we also have our fuse box power hooked up, and we have that routed proper. So now what we're gonna do is put our terminal on. Everything else is looking good. Now on this side, we do have everything hooked up. We have the battery to battery, we have the battery to starter, and we have battery to fuse box. So that side is done. Now we can come back over here to this side. This is going to be our battery to battery, and then we're going to have to hook up our alternator and the solenoid wire. Now after we get all of that hooked up, our positives is completely done, and we have the negative side over there done. So all we're gonna have left is this negative, which is going to be very easy. We just have one wire going right here to the body, and then we have a main negative going down to the engine. Again, is what it looks like. So that's gonna be a lot easier than the other two positives. This one was easy, but the one going to the starter was definitely pain. But we are looking good. I now got both positives all the way tight, and now we just have this one last ground, which I was talking about earlier. Should be very easy to get. All right, I have the negative unhooked right here and from the terminal. Now we're just gonna go down below and find where it hooks up to the engine block. Not too hard to find at all. It is just right here. We're just gonna be getting that bolt out, and then that is just gonna come straight out. We had one little tab holding on the wire. Now we're good to remove it. This was just an 18. It comes right out. Now we just grab the cable, pull it straight up, and it's out. We're gonna go straight back in with our new cable. Just tuck it down where it needs to go, and then we'll line it up later. And we will hook up our terminal. All right, the last terminal is completely tight. We got it going from the battery to the body, and we got battery to engine, and we are done. So now the only thing left is to try to fire it off and see if we did everything right. All right, let's see. We got power. That's always a great sign. Let's see. And now she fires up and we are good to go. That's what I'm talking about.